Leafs talk, JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. The word I tweeted was yuck. I don't know what else to say.
I got one to describe that game.
Yeah.
Big old fart noise, pal. That's the best way to describe that.
Pretty much right from puck drop. The Leafs tonight showed up with no legs. They looked completely disconnected, discombobulated, however you want to call it. This is a team that, Sammy, I think you would agree. There's been an overall sentiment of it's looked different through the first 5 games, that there's been real encouraging signs under Berube. And tonight, they didn't look at all like the team that we've been watching through the first 5.
Yeah, like this was like a real throwback performance where you just play like crap against a bad team and you waste points against a bad team, right? Like they've already done the thing twice this year where they've lost points against quote unquote bad teams at the Habs on opening night, this one here. But this one in particular, you could just feel it extremely early that this was going to be an ugly night. And this is the type of night, not to harp on one that I love to harp on here, but I'll do it, where you need this to be one of your starting goalies, one of your NHL caliber goalies that can play the second half of a back-to-back and give you some hope in a period where you have no legs, where you're tired in the second half of back-to-back. And listen, I'm not going to kill Hildeby for it. He's a kid. He played his second NHL game, couple stinkers or whatever. He didn't give him any help, and it broke him early. The second goal clearly broke them, and they just never got back into the game. And yeah, you just would have liked this to be either Anthony Stolarz or Joseph Wall in the second half of a back-to-back instead of a kid playing his second NHL start. That's one of the thoughts I had. It's just, it would be nice.
I agree. Like this, listen, this is the class line. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Exactly. Like, what's he like? He's like, why am I playing in this game? Like, it's brutal.
Hildeby, it's funny because the first game that he gets in is a back-to-back and they play great against the Devils, right? And he played extremely well, high pressure situation, but the team is up for it. And here you get a game where Toronto clearly left it all on the ice against the Tampa Bay Lightning the night prior. I guess that's the cost of them playing that way. I'm not trying to make excuses for them because you're still professionals. You're young. You're supposed to be able to play 2 hockey games in 2 nights and not look this poor. But yeah, they played this incredible 60 minutes the night before where they played extremely hard. And yeah, you could just tell on a lot of the back checks, like, man, you see that one where guys are just coasting in this hockey game. Like, it feels wrong to single a guy out because, God, just about everybody was doing it. But like William Nylander on some of these shifts, it was genuinely laughable watching some of the intensity on a few of the plays. So I agree with you.
As good as that line had been, they were equally as bad tonight in terms of the effort level. Like they jumped out to me.
Yeah, they did. And I think that they were actually the reason that Berube started to split up the lines when he did, because it happened before the injury to Max Pacioretty, which I like, we don't have any information on it as the show is right now. So we'll see how that develops over the coming hour or so, I would say, or over the next like 15, 20 minutes. Maybe we'll get Show to drop
keep an eye on that for us.
Berube has to say in the chat. But yeah, to the Hildeby point, it's hard to blame the kid.
I'm not blaming him at all.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be here, but you're dead right. Those were the second goal is
killed him.
That's about as bad as you can see. And there were 2 other ones in this game that were just absolute stinkers. And I thought for Hildeby, because so much of trying to evaluate him is, hey, try to keep his confidence high, right? Hey, try to make him feel good about his game. And yeah, for a young goaltender without a large sample size of playing at the professional level, that I imagine this one's going to be a little tough to shake, because it wasn't just the goals he let in. It was some of the saves he made where it's like he had one off the chest tonight from the blue line that he just didn't see that hit him. He had one go in behind him that may have even been a goal that they called off. He just couldn't track it. He was swimming around in his net. He was diving around like he was.
I sent the tweet. It was mean, but I did it, about him giving me big time 2011 Jonas Gustafsson vibes tonight.
That's
like
rude. That's so
18 wheeler Jonas Gustafsson, where every shot from every angle is just a old beehole clench. You don't know, like that one along the sideboards where they blew the horn.
Yeah.
And they're like, they can't do that. They can't do that. Like, okay, whoa. Let's all just take a breath here. Like, what's going on? But
you know what it reminded me more of was Kaskasuko, who just hung out to dry and getting lit up, and you go, so you're not supposed to be in the league, and also your team in front of you is playing like crap. Dog. Yeah.
So like that, I don't want to harp too much on Hilda because it's not his fault.
Sure.
It's just on the second half of back-to-back, if you're going to win these games, often the start is the hardest part of the game, and you need one of your NHL caliber goalies to be playing in the second half of back-to-back to get a win. You just do.
I get the point.
And then Walls just disappeared. But you go back to you mentioned something about how hard they played last night, and I think this is going to be something for this group that they're going to have to get used to here, bud. Where this is the way they played last night was Berube porn. Like, I'm sure Berube watches that game back and forth, like when he's sad or when he's not feeling great. To watch that game, he feels really, really good about it. The Leafs have never played harder in the Matthews era, like in a regular season game, than they played in that game. That's like, that was insane. And I think it came at a cost tonight where, like you said, they left it all out there and they played hard, but there's 82 games in this season. Like, they're going to have to figure out a way to get, I don't know if it's conditioning or get their bodies used to it or whatever it is, like to play the ideal game Berube wants you to play. You're going to have to dig deep in the second half of these back-to-backs, and they just didn't have it tonight. So it's not like a panic mode for me. Clearly it's early in the season or whatever, but it's just something to monitor because they looked gassed, and we're 2 weeks into the season, bud.
I will say
it's
that
interesting.
I didn't think that Matthews, Marner, and Nyes looked gassed. And like, those are the guys that played heavy minutes the night before. It was genuinely the second line that I thought had the poorest performance in the game in terms of the energy and the effort level. And you saw the Domi
top line was all -3 tonight. So they were pretty responsible for a lot of the stuff that happened, but they were skating around at least. They had some
100%,
chances.
100%. I'm not saying that they played well. I'm just saying that, to me, Matthews looked like he had his legs for stretches. Marner looked like he had his legs. Nyes scores a goal in the game, and to me, still played with some force. And so I think from at least the conditioning standpoint, that wasn't so much. I just thought, man, God, it was so sloppy. It was just hope plays. And dude, is it just me, or like, was the ice horrific only for the Leafs tonight? Like, how many pucks were bobbling around on him? It didn't seem to be an issue for Columbus though. So I don't know what really to make of it, but how many times did it just seem to skip off their sticks, or there'd be a bobble or a missed pass? It felt like it was just pervasive throughout the entire evening.
One of the things that's been like the calling card of the early season Leafs under Berube is their breakouts have been so much better than they were in years past, with all of Rekman, Larson, and Tanev back there, and even Timmins, who can break it out a little bit. They're breaking out the puck way cleaner. And tonight, that was not the case. Tonight, they were like that giveaway by Oliver Ekman-Larsson where he fires it up the middle. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Vancouver Oliver Ekman-Larsson right there. That's why Riccio's texting me being like, just wait for it, buddy. Just wait for it. Like that's why you're looking at it. And it was a brutal turnover right up the middle, so it wasn't pretty. But I thought they had a really hard time stringing any passes together. And at the end of the day, like I said, that comes down to fatigue, and it comes down to playing as hard as they did last night. And it comes down to them being able to get used to playing this style, because that's the way they want them to play. So it's going to be really, I would love to know what Berube is going to say after this game. If he's going to,
I guess,
do you use an early season shot or you flush?
No, you've gotten great 5 games from this team. And like the first one, whatever, it wasn't phenomenal, but they still outshot their opponent. It wasn't like a dog's breakfast.
They played well.
They just lost the game, and it was fine. It was a fine performance. This is their first dogged effort where you knew from, if you're a fan of this team, if you're somebody who's like watching Leafs talk right now, hey, this isn't your first time. There's probably not any new viewers this evening. It's the regulars. That are
these are hardcore, the hardcore fans tonight. Thank you.
Welcome to the regs. What's this show? I don't think that tonight was the evening for that. So you've probably seen the Leafs do this quite a few times. So it felt very familiar. You knew right away. And again, once they didn't get that second save, and if I'm going to point out guys, Holmberg on the first one, buddy, David Kampf gets scratched from this game and you're one of the guys that's on the bubble. Hey, guess who is probably going to have a comfy seat if Pacioretty can go in the following game? I would guess that it's not going to be Kampf for 2 in a row. I'm going to guess that it's going to be that guy. But I think that if you're Berube, you slow play this one. If you come out all fire and brimstone after one bad game, I think you're pressing the wrong button tonight. To me, this is cool, calm, collected. Hey, we're going to flush it. That's a frustrating effort. And then if you get another one of these on Thursday or on Saturday night against the Boston Bruins, that's when you try playing a different card. But I don't think that that's the first trick you go to in the bag.
Yeah, and especially since they're playing the Blues on Thursday night, where
they got a lot of games here.
That's a money on the board game for him, where he's definitely going to want to win that one. If they put a bad effort out in that one, maybe you shoot an early season flare. But
that's actually a great point too. Is just you don't want to piss the guys off before the Blues game.
No,
you want them to cave them in. I just finished reading Matt Sundin's book. And
well, bookworm, you hammered that out.
I read it in a day.
Attaboy. That's impressive.
Took me most of the day, but yeah, I did finish the book this just around puck drop. Yeah. But he wrote about Pat Burns and Burns' coaching style. And he said Pat Burns, when he was really pissed off, would just be silent, and that would hurt the players sometimes the most. And I think if you're Berube, that's the move tonight. Is I hope he read Sundin's book, and I hope he read that passage on Pat Burns and went, you know what? That's the one tonight. Is just go in the room, be quiet, and then leave and be like, how do you think you did?
My parents are here right now. My parents, they got here late. I watched this second half of the second period and the third period. And AMAC agrees with you. My dad, he said, I wouldn't even go in the room tonight if I was Berube. Yeah. Just wouldn't even go in there, wouldn't even give him the satisfaction. So maybe he's onto something. AMAC and Pat Burns on the same level, coaching-wise.
I'll always say it. The most devastating thing that ever happened to me as a kid was when my mom caught me smoking weed in the house like a scumbag on a fake sick day, smoking a bong.
Dude, that's ruthless.
I know.
The house is
awful. She came home
brazen.
She had to pick something up from my brother. I know, it's just awful. Blowing up the window, grade 11, like peak idiot. And she found out, and she just looked at me. She said, "I'm not mad. I'm disappointed." And to this day, it haunts me. Like sometimes I'm about to fall asleep, and I think about that, and I just, all right, I'm up. I'm not going to sleep for the next 45 minutes. Put a show on. What's on Netflix?
Time to fire up another episode of The Penguin.
Exactly. Penguin time.
That's funny.
God, I really don't have much else from this game. Let me just scroll through the notes.
Our sweet boy Tanev -3 tonight. And thought he was pretty noticeably bad tonight, actually.
And
he got hammered behind the net. He was still trying to give it, but he was -3, not pretty. We'd be absolutely remiss if we didn't mention Nick Robertson getting off the schneid tonight.
Yeah,
good for him.
Super Bowl. That was
like, I honestly don't mean to say that I called it, but like on my Sam's mush picks on Real Kipper and Born, I gave out Nick Robertson as an anytime goal scorer, absolute lock of the century. And I said it could even be in a blowout. Like I said those exact words.
Yeah, you just didn't think the blowout was going to go this way, did you?
No, I got to tell you, like, if I'm being totally honest, I did not see this coming.
No,
and in years past, I would have sniffed this out and I would have talked about this on the show, and I would have really been like, this is the spot. This is the spot.
I felt like a bozo after the second goal going, what was Columbus tonight? Like +2 something?
Yeah, they were the Leafs, I think were minus. I think they were minus.
Yeah, they were -2+, like -220, -230. They were heavy favorites in this. And I just felt like an idiot not betting the other side in a happiness hedge, just thinking, oh yeah, whoops. I guess I shouldn't have thought Hildeby was a stud and that this team was going to show up in this game. But when I saw Tarasov at like 847 save percentage or whatever, I went, oh yeah, you're a dead man walking, brother.
Or the other way that goes, I was like, this guy's just crappy enough to have a great game here.
It's like when the Blue Jays, it's always like, oh, they got a soft tossing lefty on the mound. They're going to mash him. It's like
ERA
8 innings.
ERA of 6 in Toledo.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
The Tigers 12, Blue Jays 1.
But I have to say, like, I think that's maybe just how much I've bought into the Berube hype here early
fair enough.
is that I didn't even sniff out the classic letdown Leafs crap the bed against a bad team. Like I'm like, fool me once kind of thing. I guess fool me twice, shame on me. But I really, really didn't think. Like I said to Borny today when we were leaving, like I think the Leafs are going to smoke them. Like the way they played last night, like I actually was.
I thought they were dialed in, and that they were about to put a little streak together.
Yeah, and it didn't go that way. So shame on me for believing in the second half of back-to-back. They're still the Leafs after all. Hey. They can look a little different, but I guess Tiger can't change its spot or stripes too much.
I think it's more of an old habits die hard situation. But yeah, it's did you not think though at one point in that second period that they were going to mount a little comeback? They were pressing for a bit there, and then the fifth goal goes in, and you're like, all right, game over. But there was a little glimmer there in the second period, I thought, where they were going to press, but they basically only tried, I thought, for a 5-minute chunk of the game.
Not to was it the fourth goal or the fifth goal?
I think it was the fifth.
The one that's just like a soft wrister from the top of the circle. And Hildeby just kicks it right onto the guy's stick in the slot. It's like, well, this game's over. But I was talking to like I said, my parents are here, and I was like, how hard should I go on this one? Like, this is an early season one. Like, am I going to be
fielding content questions from your parents?
I'm like, am I going Berube here? Like, am I just going to let this one flush, or how hard am I going to go on the early season here? But
you got an AHL goaltender and then on a back-to-back after you played your best game in like maybe a year. And I can't be. And also, you know what? Good for them. It was so boring and so horrible that they lulled me to sleep by the time that I got to the end. Like, if this was the first period and we would have gotten to jump on Leafs Talk and just agreed like, hey, we actually do these shows when we think the game is over, which to me would have been at the end of the first period, maybe I would have had a little bit more bluster. Maybe I would have had a little bit more accountability feeling towards the team. But this is just a flush it game, man. I don't know.
I did like one thing I did like, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, let me have it, because I'm kind of at a loss at what this could be.
How about Pontus just, we thought what Gensel did was dumb last night, but skating through the middle of the ice like that, it just gets hammered. Like that was like, oh my God, that's the most eligible to be hit a human's ever been.
Yeah.
And I did like Reeves jumping in a little bit. Sure. You're getting blown out. It's nice to see that your tough guy, looks pissed off. Domi doing dumb stuff down that big, like cross-checking guys, punching Fantilli in the head. It's nice to see guys be pissed off when you're down 5-1, because you watch other good teams when they're getting blown out, when they watch the Bruins when they're getting blown out, they start doing dumb stuff. Same with Tampa. Like last night, they were running around at the end of the game. It was nice to see a couple guys be frustrated by getting blown out. So that's literally the only positive I can drum up from this game. But how'd I do?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
This probably isn't the time for this take, but it kind of leads into yesterday as well. So again, I actually, from reading the Matt's book, because he's so tight with Ty Domi, and went through like his relationship with Ty, and reminded me of, I think that Ty is kind of a bit of a lost Leaf in a way. Like Tucker has still a very like big presence in Toronto, but Domi was like a real fan favorite for an extremely long time, and then he just sort of.
If you go to any Leaf game at Scotiabank Arena, like. If there's a percentage of 28s.
Yeah, that's
28s. He was a big time fan fave here.
But then it was like he was in phone commercials and then gone.
Yeah,
like that's it. You can't get into
buses. Yeah,
you'll never do an interview. Like he's somehow one of the world's most famous men. Like he's like tight with Drake. He's tight with like Mark Wahlberg. He's tight with Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady comments on Max Domi's Instagram posts.
Yeah, every time. Yeah, so
what the hell is going on?
Anyways, I get it though. Again, reading Matt's book, just in terms of the kind of guy like Ty is to those dudes, like he just makes him feel comfortable. He's just a good guy to be around. But yeah, just that he's got that snap in him. He's had that snap, and Max tonight, it's a blowout. I love pushback. I'm with you. Like tonight is just a pushback night where it's like do it. But Max has that little bit in him where it worries me that it's not just going to be in a blowout, right? Like it's going to be in like a 2-1 game where you're protecting a lead against the Bruins, and then he does something and you go, no, Max, no. It just, he's got to find a way to strike that balance, and hopefully he can find it, because I think him playing for the Leafs really means something, and he does bring that intensity. He does care. And that means a lot to, I think, a lot of Leaf fans. I know it means something, to me as just somebody who watches hockey every night, that you can count on him giving a crap every single time he plays these hockey games. But yeah, when I saw him do the punch in the back of that thing, I was like, easy, Max. Like,
that's our Maxie.
Yeah,
easy,
like, yeah, tonight it's fine, but Thursday 1-1. Try to keep it in your pants.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Please.
That's for sure. So you're talking to Matt's tomorrow. Excited?
Yeah. I've had Matt's on the show a bunch of times before. I'm going to try to do a bit of a different interview than some of the other shows have done, just given that I did read the book, and I'm probably just going to make it a little bit more personalized, and hopefully that resonates, and that he's not gassed from doing the worldwide media tour and then saving me till dead last. But I'm optimistic for it. I've got Versteeg tomorrow. We're going to break down the power play a little bit, and it's funny because one of the big topics I had for him was the chemistry between Domi and Nylander, and then they play their worst game together and get split up. But yeah, either way, tune in tomorrow to my podcast.
If you're doing plugs, if you're listening to this, you're probably you're a big Leaf fan. Listen to Real Kipper and Born today. We had Valaket on. We have Valaket on every Tuesday now on our show.
He's great.
And he told the most unbelievable story about Anthony Stolarz and one of the big reasons that he kind of bounced around. And I won't go into it too much here. You'll have to go to the pod if you haven't listened to it yet. But it's a wild story. And it was just like, it was kind of mind-blowing and sort of scary at the same time. So I'll let you, if you want to go back and listen to it, it's great. So check out Real Kipper and Born today with Valaket. He's unbelievable. We have him on every Tuesday.
Did we get the Brube post yet? Can we close on that, or we go? Doesn't come in the chat, so I don't think we got it.
I haven't looked at my phone. Do you want me to quickly look at my phone?
No. I was gonna say I'm just gonna go watch Bronny James score 0 points now, and
my God. Honestly, like, I know it's not NBA tape.
Brube says we'll find out tomorrow on the Pacioretty injury, so that's not great. I would say.
I mean, this is a pretty predictable outcome, right? Like,
it's why he has games clauses in his contract.
Absolutely. But like the whole year, like, I'm not sure there's something I fear more or am more dreading than the content like from LeBron about Bronny this year.
Oh, I'm talking about Pacioretty.
No, I know. But like, I saw that and you updated it, but you're just talking about Bronny like that. I never get to talk about anything other than hockey. Like, you mentioned it. It just, I'm dreading it. Like that commercial thing he put out today about playing a prank on the rookie. I was like, oh my God. This is going to be the worst year ever.
It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a lingering story.
No.
Okay. No. I think it's going to be kind of a one and done thing, and then it's not going to happen because he's not ready to play in the NBA. There's a reason, dude. His point total tonight was set at 1. So like, if your point total is set at
1.5.
Yeah, if you set it at 1, that means you're not supposed to be in the NBA, flat out. Anyways, subscribe to this podcast, leave 5 stars, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Bunkis at Sam McKee, and we will see you Thursday night against Craig Berube's former team, the St. Louis Blues. See you then.